celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani. Joey answering your grooming questions. Dr. Debbie with your vet medical questions. And I believe Ladybug, again, for the new year, is taking calls again. So this is nice. She's taken a few weeks off. I noticed she hadn't been hogging the phones. But if your dog wants to talk to Ladybug,
she's ready.
She is ready to answer any questions about humans. She knows a lot about humans. And
wait a minute. No. Not going there.
Okay. Bringing me back.
Human behavior.
Lori, what are you working on for this hour?
Well, there was a story that we talked about last year about an alligator. I mean, he was a rescue alligator.
Uh-huh.
A pet alligator, that his mom rescued. And he was taken away from his home because different reasons. But now the case has been resolved, and we're going to update you on that, and we'll give you a little history on how this alligator has become like a clothing-wearing ATV pet.
I saw this.
ATV riding pet, I should say.
They're dressing this alligator up in clothing, in human clothing, or what appears to be human clothing. I'm sure it's been tailored for an alligator.
A little bit. He's got a broad chest.
Can you imagine taking the shirt and can you adjust this for my alligator?
Yeah, shorten the arm's length.
So the alligator's making news, and we'll find out what it is in just a couple of minutes right here on Animal Radio. This hour, we're also going to find out about the drive-thru restaurant for dogs and dogs only called Bane and Vader's Doggie Drive-Thru in Easton, Pennsylvania, where they serve only doggy food. You drive through just like a normal fast food restaurant, except you can't order a double-double for you because they only serve the dogs. And this is good if you're one of those people that does that already. You go through the drive-thru with your dog in the back, and then they're like sticking their head out the window to the cash register because they smell all that good food. Then you end up buying them some of this horrible, horrible food that you shouldn't be eating and then feeding it to them. No more.
Right. We call it the magic window.
Yeah, the window diet.
Like, really? You pull up there and food comes out?
Let's go to the phones for your calls. And let's go to Blair. Hey, Blair, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm actually in Camden, Maine right now.
Camden, Maine?
Doing? Yeah.
Is it cold?
Oh, it's not just cold. It is freezing when you go outside just right now. And when I went outside, to tell you the truth, sir, I went outside. I saw a dog with the lady, and I asked the lady, is your dog freezing right now? Is your dog cold? And she said, yeah, my dog's cold, but he's fine. But, I'm going to bring my dog Murphy to this cold weather, freezing cold weather. But he'll be fine. He might get a little cold, might get a little chill. But a dog's got to get used to it, right?
Sure. Well, you could dress him up.
Put a coat on him.
Yeah, that's what...
Put a coat on him, you're right.
Yeah.
If you're cold, chances are your dog's cold.
Yeah.
And some dogs don't tolerate cold as well as other breeds. So, for instance, the short-haired breeds, little Chihuahuas, some of the small terriers, they don't have a thick hair coat. So they really will get cold much faster and will not survive outside very well at all. So you don't want to leave them out very long. Get them in, get them out, do their potty, and let them stay close to the fire and cuddled up on the couch.
Yeah. So what's going on with your dog?
My dog right now is actually at a like a babysitter kind of place. We boarded him, so my dog's over there right now. So nothing's going on with him. But the question was, when I was at home, is if you have a chip in your dog, like if I put a chip in my dog, and my dog was running away, and we couldn't get to him, we couldn't find him, and he ran away into the canyon, how would I end up being able to get him or find him with the chip? Do I have to, is there any way to get in the chip? Is there any way to locate him? That's my question to the animal. Yeah.
That's a great question, Blair. And I think a lot of people have mistaken assumptions about microchips. They are great things and they can save lives and help get pets back to their pet owners. But there's some things they are not. To this time, right now, there is not yet a microchip on the market that has a GPS tracking ability. There was some talk of it about a year or two ago that there was a company in the works. But there's really not a chip that's implanted under the skin that you can use to track your pet. Now, there are collars and some other types of chips you can affix to the collar that will allow you to use GPS tracking. And I use those for my dogs when I'm up in kind of some of the remote areas so that should they get spooked or run away, that I'll be able to track them. But your microchip is not going to allow you to do that. It will help if, the dog is runs away, is picked up by somebody, and goes to either a veterinarian, a shelter, or another animal care facility that has a microchip scanner where they detect that microchip.
So it's only used for identification, is what you're saying?
It is. So it's a passive technology. It's not active. You can't, stand there and with your computer or your phone track your dog. And part of the reason is at this time, the technology isn't available in the size of a little grain of rice. There needs to be something that generates the electricity or the energy to do that. And then also kind of the unit and the antenna and all that. So right now, technology is not there. Maybe someday we will have that, and that would be super a fine thing as long as it's safe. And I think that's the other thing is a lot of people worry about implanting something that generates heat or has some kind of moving part that could pose more of a health risk. And I think we just have to look at that closely when we get the technology.
So, Blair, you could get one of those collars, those GPS collars that they wear on the outside, and that probably would help you identify where the dog is at.
If I lost my Cocker Spaniel, I would be not too thrilled right now because I would need him in Camden, Maine, or wherever I move to out in the freezing cold right now because I would love him to be with me because I would not be happy. Anybody would not be happy to lose their dog.
That's for
Anybody
sure.
would want to come up with something to have their dog back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, this is not just a one trick answer. So we need to use multiple different techniques. So we use a collar with a tag. We use a microchip. And then, for my dogs, I have three things. I have a microchip, I have a tag, and I have a GPS tracking collar on them. So those are the things that I use. So hopefully, you can use those same things and also, close supervision, making sure we do what we can as pet owners not to allow our pets to roam and to be under constant owner supervision.
Keep them on a leash would be the best thing. I see a lot of people by my house do not keep their pets on a leash. You got to keep those pets on a leash. You got to try to keep them on a leash. People do not do that enough. They don't keep their pets on a leash, and that's how they get loose.
Yeah.
Well, you sound like a great pet guardian, and that you're obviously checking into this to make sure you don't lose it. Check out on Google. You can just Google GPS pet collars or
dog
collars, and you can find out a lot more about that. Blair, stay warm, and thank you so much for calling today. Hi, Dawn.
Hi.
What's up?
What's up? I have a question.
Okay.
For the vet.
She's right here.
I have a cat. Well, actually, I have two cats. I have an older cat that's about 14 years old, and I have a cat that's about almost a year and a half old. And this cat was a throwaway. She came to me at about 4 weeks old, a little too early. And she was also the runt of the litter. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but she refuses to have her claws clipped without what I would consider abuse to the animal. And
Okay.
I mean, I literally have to, grab her and put her between my legs and squeeze her little paws, and I don't want to do it. It hurts me more than it hurts her.
Okay. All right. So it's not going well, and I'm assuming you're wanting to find out the way to do this, the trick,
Yes.
right?
The trick.
Okay.
The easy way so she doesn't howl like the devil.
Okay. The first thing that I'm going to say is that she's a cat, not a dog. So we have to approach cats a bit differently when we want to train them to accept something that they might find unpleasant. So you really need to do small little bits. Try not to overpower her physically, because that never goes over well with cats. In the veterinary world, it always ends up in a no world situation. So you come at it and in the cat's eyes, go slowly. And I would say some soft restraint is helpful. And
that
just
that was my last resort. I mean, I tried from a very young kitten. I tried of just approaching her, when she was sleeping and doing a little bit, and she would just pull her hands away without any, with the slightest nippers near her.
Okay,
she saw
and that's where we need to focus our attention. Before you even pull those clippers out, we need to use paw therapy. So basically, that is what your job is. You may need to take her to the veterinarian to get the nails trimmed or to the groomer. But at this time, your job is to make her like you touching her feet. And that should be the only thing you try to do. So trimming her nails is not going to be on the close horizon then. That's going to mean getting some of her favorite treats. That's going to mean getting what she likes. Does she like to be brushed? Does she like chin rubs? Those are the things you want to do at the time that you touch her feet or even approach them. Do not go further than that step until she finds that somewhat okay. If you try to push it and start restraining her and holding those feet and squeezing the nail, she's not going to go for it. Eventually, we hope to get to that point and make that more pleasant for her. When you do get to that point, my number one tips for actually trimming the nails in cats are that a lot of people don't hold the nail still enough. So you need to hold your thumb and forefinger on the actual base of the nail, squeeze so that claw comes out, and you cut quickly and sharply with a nice sharp set of toenail trimmers. Your preference. I usually like the little scissor handle versus the guillotine ones. I would not advise using the vibrating trimmers for this kitty because it does not sound like that would be anything she'd even entertain. And some people will even use just large human toenail nippers if the kitties have real small or narrow nails. That might even be an option, but that may be weeks or months down the road for you. So remember, don't push it, and you really want to make this a pleasant experience. Reward her with those little baby steps along the way. So best of wish with you there, Dawn. I know it's a hard thing. Cats are not dogs, so let's not treat them like one.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Fear Free, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfree.com to find care near you.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall on Animal Radio, and I just like everybody to realize that each day you live, you make some difference on the planet, and you can choose what kind of difference you're going to make. And hopefully every day you'll try to make the world a little bit better for people, for animals, and for the environment.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggie Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggiehush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggie Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggiehush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggiehush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
Hey, everybody, this is Brett Michaels, and I just want to say, you, right now, want to take... Wait, give me the line again. My brain skipped.
Brett Michaels.
I just had one of my brain hemorrhage brain farts.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to be responsible for that.
Trust me, it's me. Go ahead.
Animal Radio. Brett Michaels, Animal Radio.
You got it. I knew the Animal Radio. Like, okay, here we go. Hey, this is Brett Michaels. You're listening to Animal Radio, and take care of your pets. They will rock your world.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, and we always like starting off the new year with brand new radio stations, radio affiliates from across the country. We welcome KZWY in Sheridan, Wyoming, and Billings, Montana. Woohoo! Thank you for joining. And by the way, to my left, I have Dr. Debbie. To my right, Joey Villani. In the newsroom over there, Lori Brooks. Judy Francis answering your phone calls. And she's like an air traffic director. She air traffic controller is what she does.
Yeah, we cease to exist without Judy.
Yes, that is so true.
If they could just see me waving my hands and doing all this like cuts and all those things with my hand, nobody can see me like, enough, cut it. Yeah.
Frequently, she'll swing her finger around and tell me to shut up and hurry up, wrap it up. As she is doing right now. You can ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Now that we brought everyone up to date here, we'll go back to the phones in just a couple of seconds. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom for this hour?
Well, all eyes are on Washington, D.C. as we are in the new year. And are we going to have a presidential pet? Apparently, there has been an offer made. And we'll tell you what that presidential pet might be, okay?
I sort of feel sorry for that pet.
Well, again,
you were supposed to be a nonpartisan pet representative. How?
I don't believe I expressed any partisanship there. I just...
But I distinctly got some left or right vibes there.
Okay, we'll find out more about that in just a couple of minutes. Joey, what are you working on?
Well, it's the new year, so we're going to talk about our quarterly reports, what you need to do to your pets to get them ready and get them healthy and looking good.
Well, that's on the way in just a few minutes. Let's go to the phones for your calls right now. Let's see. Let's head to John. Hey, John, how are you doing?
Hi, this is John.
Where are you calling from, John?
Antelope, California, one town south of Roseville.
So what do you got going on?
Well, I got a little puppy, 6 months old, and she's a miniature poodle, and she's sweet as can be. We're worried about feeding her ice cream. We don't know anything about that sort of thing.
Okay, you're worried about it? Is she currently eating ice cream?
Yeah, we feed her a dollop once in a while. Vanilla.
Okay. So you're looking to ask me for permission to give your dog ice cream, is that right?
Will it hurt her?
Well, it depends. There are certainly dogs that have very sensitive stomachs, and veering from their regular diet can upset their system. The interesting thing that people need to recognize is that dogs and cats, a good majority of them, are actually lactose intolerant. So that's something to think about when we start offering them different dairy products, that can cause some dietary upset. And it may not be a life-threatening illness, but, we might talk about excess gas, soft stools, maybe some vomiting. As a child, I can tell you my dog, he definitely dined on cleaning the ice cream bowl, a regular occurrence. So a little bit probably is not going to be a big deal, but in general, there's a lot of fat in ice cream and calories that we really just don't need to do. So I'm not going to give you that clearance to say it's okay to give ice cream. It would just be something I would try to discourage.
That's interesting. The local young man at a pet store suggested I put some peanut butter in wet dog food and freeze it and then give them that.
Well, that can be kind of a fun treat, but I would say rather than put it in the food, frozen peanut butter can be very useful when we're trying to get dogs to be occupied, chew on toys. So you can take a little bit of peanut butter, stick it inside a Kong or another kind of chewing toy and keep them occupied. I don't want to just give dogs food. That really, it's pretty ungratifying. I mean, yes, they like to eat it and it's yummy, but it doesn't really occupy their mind or their chewing instincts. So I like the frozen peanut butter in a toy. I don't like throwing it in the bowl. That's just, it's not letting a dog be a dog.
Two last questions. I just got told yesterday that it's dangerous to feed dog grapes.
Grapes?
Yes, that's actually true. Grapes and raisins have the potential to cause kidney failure in dogs. And it's very true. And that's another thing where people will say, I've done it before and my dog is perfectly fine. It's something they are looking at. They don't know really what the toxic principle is, but it can happen. So do not feed grapes or raisins to your dogs.
Thank you, Debbie. And what about chocolate?
Chocolate. Oh, that's another one. Chocolate's a no-no. And small amounts aren't likely to be toxic, but you can certainly get a taste. They'll develop a taste for chocolate. And my own dear Labrador had ingested several pounds of chocolate items and had the world's worst chocolate toxicity. He had heart arrhythmias, vomiting. It was a really bad state. So it can be toxic in large amounts. So I don't like to do it at all.
Okay, we don't do that. We just feed her vanilla, a little scoop of vanilla, a tiny little tablespoonful.
Yeah, and there's so many, fun, kind of healthy dog treats out there that can be flavored like chocolate, but they really don't contain chocolate. So if you feel the urge to give something like that, you can always reach to the pet store to find something.
Thank you, Debbie.
I remember the peanut butter that wasn't really peanut butter. It's dog peanut butter. Dog butter is what they call it. from Dog for Dog, which is much better.
Formulated and healthier for dogs.
Good for them, so you might check that out. We have a list over at the website at animalradio.com of foods you should not feed your dog, which includes, of course, grapes and raisins. Thank you for listening, John. I appreciate your call today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much.
Can I feed them pistachio nuts? What about caviar? Yeah. Caviar, is that good? Is that okay? I feed them shrimp. Do I take the little legs off? What do I do?
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Holy education! Hi, this is Burt Ward, Robin from the TV series Batman. You've got to keep listening to Animal Radio. Wowie zowie. They've got the best information. It's so entertaining. To the Batmobile, citizens!
I would love to go on vacation, but I don't want to leave our Charlie behind.
I agree. I heard that the magazine Fido Friendly lists places where you can stay with your pet. They also offer reviews so you have an idea about pet policy to include any restrictions, fees, and what pet amenities to expect.
That's, dare I say, awesome. What are we waiting for?
I'm way ahead of you. I just logged on to FidoFriendly.com and found a 4-star resort. Hilton Santa Fe Resort and Spa at Buffalo Thunder in New Mexico.
Charlie agrees. When do we leave?
As soon as you can pack your bags. It's off to adventure with Charlie, thanks to Fido Friendly Magazine. To find your next family adventure that includes your furry family friend, log on to FidoFriendly.com.
Hi, this is Judith Chapman from Young and the Restless at CBS, and I'm on Animal Radio right now, and I'm asking everyone out there to please spay and neuter your pets.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. A philanthropist wants to do something to make the Trump White House a little bit more like those of the past. She wants Donald Trump to have a presidential pet. Now, we've talked about this before, but this is a specific offer. Wow. You see, every president in the last 150 years has had pets in the White House. I mean, we have seen dogs, cats, parrots, sheep, horses, bear cubs, even a pygmy hippo, and an alligator living in the White House. By the way, it was John Quincy Adams who let an alligator live in a White House bathroom.
That was just what I was
President
thinking.
Obama, though, we talked about this, didn't have any pets when he was elected, but then that changed when they got Bo, who was a gift from the late Senator Ted Kennedy, and then later Sonny, and both of them are Portuguese water dogs. Hal, did you say something?
No, I didn't. I was just amazed at the alligator in the White House.
But here's what's going on with this. There was a recent gala down at Mar-a-Lago, which raised money to benefit the American Humane Association, and it was hosted by the very wealthy Lois Pope. If you don't know who Lois Pope is, she is a philanthropist and also happens to be the widow of the guy who founded the National Enquirer. Oh. So she announced at this ball that they were giving Patton, a 2.5-month-old golden retriever kind of poodle mix puppy, to the Trumps, and that she had left them with a certificate for the pup, who, by the way, is the descendant of military service dogs and named after General George Patton, who is a favorite of Trump's. Now, Pope made the announcement saying, from President Washington, of course, she has a much more elegant voice than I do. The White House has always been home to our four-legged friends, she went on, and we look forward to Patton upholding this long-standing American tradition to have a first dog in the White House. Well, Pope said that the president-elect was actually given a certificate that officially presented the dog to him, but sadly we haven't officially heard that the Trump family will be adopting Patton, but we will keep you posted on this. Well, following months of negotiations with state officials in Florida, a woman named Mary Thorne has been given a permit that is now going to allow her to keep her pet alligator. Rambo is his name. And Rambo, she says, is fully house-trained and not a normal gator. You see, last month she was told that she was going to have to find another home for Rambo. We told you about this story because state officials had said that he had grown much too large to remain on her property in Lakeland, Florida. And around that town, he's known for sporting, fun outfits and, cute clothes and riding an ATV. Since Thorne adopted Rambo, that was more than 10 years ago, he's now over 6 feet long. And there's been a change in the law down there that has added a permit stipulation that requires gators who are that big or larger, to live on property where they have at least 2.5 acres of open space, which Thorne didn't have. So, little background here. Before Rambo was rescued by this woman, he had lived in a crowded tank in a dark closet with 4 other alligators. And it was those living conditions that made him ultra sensitive to light. In fact, all of them. And they were kind of skittish around other animals as well. So then Mary Thorne rescues these gators, all 5 of them, and brings them home. She tried leaving them outside to become normal alligators, but they couldn't handle the sun, and they weren't the healthiest, and they began to die. And Rambo was the only one of those 5 that survived. So now Rambo is dressed in clothing, and you might think that's silly, but it's actually to protect him from the sun. And his mother, human mother, mostly keeps him indoors. But the State Wildlife Commission has changed their mind. They have ended up issuing her a personal pet license, which allows her to keep Rambo, but it does not allow him to be out in public for classes or even charity events like he used to do.
Well, he dresses up, and that's, you mentioned this, and there's a lot of great pictures online of this alligator that is dressed in clothing that I can't imagine how Mom puts the clothing on and doesn't get a limb taken off. But
well, she said that they had, when they had all 5 of the gators, that after 4 of the others died and Rambo was the only one left, she's like, something's got to change in this situation. So she, kept him inside. They just started cuddling him and treating him like a baby. He's totally adapted and is a pet. Wow, a house gator.
But isn't it weird that it won't adapt back to the light?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, because they have really thick skin, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I only know what people tell me, Joey.
Well, you know what? At first I was going to say it's crazy, and it reminded me of that chimpanzee that woman had as a pet and said it was perfectly fine. But I guess I look like any other pet lover. I feel sorry for him that it was abused and had to go through this. So
yeah,
right.
Gators are pretty popular in Florida. I mean, they can be on your lawn. They can show up on your lawn. If you live in Tampa or Sarasota, any of those areas there, they will show up on your lawn. So it's interesting that she had to get that licensed.
Yeah, there's just so many questions we have. I think I'm going to try to get her on the show.
So many questions, little time.
I'm going to try to get her.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I wouldn't have done the story if it hadn't involved the state wildlife officials.
Oh, I thought it was the clothing.
No. I am kind of fond of animals and clothing.
Yeah, me too.
Here's another one of those stories, as a matter of fact, guys. Polly, the rescue goat, suffers from anxiety, which a lot of people do. But Polly deals with it by wearing a duck suit, which is really pajamas, a kind of costume that makes her feel secure. Roro is
he wants a duck costume,
we're hearing
too.
about a goat. Okay. After little Polly was rescued by Goats of Anarchy, it's a New Jersey-based rescue organization that they care for neurologically challenged baby goats. They had Polly seen by, I guess, a pet psychiatrist, and she was diagnosed with mental anxiety. So Polly was, comforted at that time when she had all this anxiety and feeling so nervous. They swaddled her like you would a baby in a blanket, and her caregiver figured, hey, maybe a costume would do the same thing, or pajamas is what it actually is. And that's when she started treating Polly's anxiety attacks by zipping her up in this cozy little duck pajama suit. And she has received, like Joey was talking about, some online criticism from viewers thinking that the suit would cause more anxiety rather than cure it. But they insist that Polly is really a special case with special needs, and she's doing really well. And you can follow her and all of her happy adventures. I got to tell you, she's adorable. And in that duck suit, there's nothing cuter. She is on the Instagram and Twitter pages of the Goats of Anarchy.
I'm going to play psychiatrist here because I think I did. I'm going to think I am.
Go ahead.
It's probably like a thunder jacket.
Oh, like a thunder shirt. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, and where it's that security tight safety blanket. And I bet you it works the same way.
Oh, I have an idea. I'm thinking the thunder shirt is just such a drab looking thing now. We should make the duck thunder shirt.
Duck.
Yeah.
Yes, thunder duck.
Thunder duck. And
Yes,
what
the
about,
Animal Radio Thunder Duck and anti-anxiety goat outfit. There you go.
Trademark that.
I love you guys. I'm Lori Brooks, by the way. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
And Lori looks great in clothes, too. She really does.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Better put on your duck suit, Lori.
Quack, quack.
Quack. Quack, yeah.
Hey, it's Alan Cable. Today we're going to talk about dog behaviors, the most common ones that people have to deal with. Number one, barking. Most dogs bark. That's just a fact of life. But if your dog is barking all the time, before you can correct it, you got to find out what's causing it. There's a lot of different reasons. Sometimes your dog is bored or he's anxious. Sometimes he's barking at other dogs or warning someone to stay away. And sometimes he's just playing or excited. Once you figure out why your dog barks, you can start to deal with it. I'll tell you one thing, a happy dog is a tired dog. Make sure your dog gets plenty of exercise. Don't pay attention to your dog when your dog's barking. Don't pet him, hug him, give him treats, feed him, any of that stuff, because that encourages your dog to keep barking. That says, hey, I'm doing a good thing here. Yelling at your dog doesn't work either, because again, you're giving your dog attention and that may make him bark even more. What you want to do is when your dog is barking, give your dog a quick correction. You can clap, say the word quiet very sternly, quiet. Or have a collar and a leash on and just give him a little jolt, a little snap of the wrist. And while you're doing this, again, use the word quiet. As soon as your dog starts being quiet, you say, good dog. Even give your dog a treat. In general, you want to give your dog affection and reward when your dog is calm and quiet. That encourages your dog to be mellow. You want to reward your dog for behaving the way you want and ignore and correct your dog when your dog's behaving the way you don't want him to. Don't rile your dog up to, oh, good dog, and pet him like crazy. You just want to say good dog and be mellow yourself. Here's another dog behavior people have to deal with, chewing. That's a natural behavior for dogs, but you want to teach your dog what to chew, or else your dog will rip your house apart. Most common reasons dogs chew things is because they get bored, or they get anxious, they have anxiety, they're curious, because that's how dogs learn about the world, or they're a puppy and they're teething. So you gotta be there, and as soon as your dog makes a move to chew the wrong thing, like your favorite chew, you give him a quick correction with the word no, and then stick something in his mouth he's allowed to chew. Then when he chews it, you say, good dog. You know, it's a lot like training a husband.
Hi, this is Creston. Of course, you know me as the amazing Creston. And you're listening to me on Animal Radio. Don't forget to spade and neuter those loved ones which we've bonded with, our pets.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it.
800-410-5914. 800-410-5914. 800-410-5914. That's 800-410-5914.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Do you have a office cat?
No, I don't. No. I actually don't believe in them. For me, I don't like it because a lot of times some cats will be ticked off by the sight of other cats. So I don't want my patients being pissed off before I see them. And, I want my cats to come in the door as calm as possible without having other feline influences along the way.
I imagine it's hard enough with having dogs and cats.
And I have some clients that are allergic. So they have to go into the dog-only rooms, and if they're in a room with a cat, they can have really bad problems, starting to respiratory problems, scratching, and so it has its place, but not for me.
I think you're the only vet that doesn't have a house cat, an office cat.
Maybe.
I love it when I walk into a store and there's like an office cat or a store cat. It just makes you feel at home and welcoming.
I go right to it.
I think the ideas of the cat cafes that they have in Japan, I love that idea.
Yeah,
go grab a cup of coffee.
Them, I think, in L.A., too. They're here in the States.
I think they're here in the States.
Yeah.
In New York, there's a lot of places where you go and there's a shop cat. And in fact, there's a book called Shop Cats of New York. And we welcome Tamar Arslanian to the show. Hi, Tamar. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How is everyone?
Awesome. Tell us about the book Shop Cats. You've spent a lot of time, I assume, photographing animals, cats in particular, all around the New York area.
Yes, well, actually, I teamed up with a young up-and-coming Instagram photographer for the photography. The book was my concept, and the stories in it are my stories, my writing, because I started with a blog called I Have Cats, Single in the City with Cats, about 7 or 8 years ago. And I had an agent approach me, and I didn't have an idea for a book. And so I came up with this idea purely based on the fact that in my own neighborhood, I have 2 shop cats. One is a wine store cat named Jack, who's actually chapter number 1 in this book. I didn't pick that he'd be chapter number 1, but he was. And then another one called Kitty at my Pilates studio. And my friends and just other people, because I was a cat blogger, would always share with me different stores that they had found in the area that had cats. And so, I started to look to see if such a book existed. And while there were articles about them and some older books that referred to them as working cats, which we can get into if you like, but the ones I found weren't very much working.
They weren't
cats.
working. Well, a lot of them have titles, don't they?
Mostly Queen and King.
I saw one in the book that was a customer therapist, and another one that was an assistant buyer.
Yes, they also or like head social media. They have actual Twitter handles or whatnot. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, they don't seem to be the best mousers in the world. I was told quite a few stories of they'll alert us to a mouse, or watch a mouse scurry past. But that's why I didn't like the word working cat, and I think it just didn't represent the cats that I met very well. They were sort of more mascots or, in charge, or, but they definitely didn't seem to be working.
There was the bookstore cat that did a little bit of work. Can you tell the listeners about that?
So there were, are you speaking of Tiny, perhaps? The one who almost killed a live chicken?
Yeah, that one.
Whoops. Well, yeah, he does work. He works in his own way. He is a bit of a hunter. He has a wild side to him, and Tiny has been featured in a lot of different publications and magazines and whatnot. And it's funny because apparently people will come in with their dogs and they'll say, "Don't worry, my dog likes cats," and they're like, "Be careful, our cat does not like dogs."
Uh-oh.
And if you start to see him lurking around, then he's stalking you and your dog. But there was one episode apparently that they have story time in the bookstore, and they didn't realize that this person that was telling a story was going to have a little surprise at the end of the story. And apparently, this person had a cloak on this whole time and whipped out a live chicken from under his cloak. And of course, the kids were thrilled, and so was Tiny. And apparently, he totally was coming in for the kill, and the chicken was whisked away just in the jiff of, in the nick of time, or else these kids may have needed a little post-traumatic stress counseling,
Oh, whoops.
What do you think? People walk into a store, they see a cat. What do you think the general impression is?
Honestly, I think, except for, recently there was a big outburst on the Internet, right? Somebody complained about a cat in a bodega. And then the world came out against her, and it was on Mashable and everything. I think, except for maybe a few people like that, I think people really think wow, I think it gives just a little more dimensionality. It makes you think about the manager and the people there as being more loving and caring. Now, whether or not it's all true, I don't know. But sometimes the people I met, I felt that they were very warm and they were very, they loved their animals. So I think it just gives a nice warm feeling to the place, to the business. It makes you want to frequent it versus perhaps another one that doesn't have a store cat. It makes you realize perhaps they appreciate these little sentient beings, and it just makes the place cozier. And I don't know, it imbues, I think, a lot of traits upon the store and the management, whether or not they're there.
Well, I'm always drawn. If I go into a store and see a cat, I am just drawn to it, and that makes me want to frequent the store more often.
It instantly puts you at ease.
It does. It's very relaxing.
Some people mentioned that it was also a nice way to start a conversation in the city, especially where that's not always easy.
It looks like a great, fun book for any cat lover. It's called Shop Cats of New York. How many cats are featured in it?
We have, I think it's 38 shops, but 40 cats.
I have 10 copies to give away right now to the book called Shop Cats of New York. We'll put all the information over at animalradio.com. Tamar, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for your time. And we're in reprint, so you have first edition copies, I think.
Reprint? So. Really? It's doing that well.
We're in reprint, and it was offline until today, and we're back in stock. So it's a hot commodity.
Beautiful coffee table book.
It really, really is. Thank you for joining us. We're going to head back to the phones, toll-free for your calls for Dr. Debbie and Joey Villani next, right here on Animal Radio.
Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. That's 800-705-1198.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And this hour, we're going to talk about that new drive-thru for dogs only. In fact, we'll have one of the owners on the show in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. We'll be taking your calls first. If you're dieting, like we're all dieting right now, aren't we?
This holiday. It's ridiculous, the amount of sweets and just carbs and
you try to stay away from it, but everybody brings it into the office.
I know, it's just so tempting.
And then you have to eat some of their home-baked goods in front of them so they'll see. So I've literally put on 10 pounds. My cat actually looking pretty good. My dog also looking pretty good. Hopefully your New Year's resolutions, if it was to, well, first of all, if you made a New Year's resolution, come on, haven't you learned? You don't keep those things anyway. But if it is losing weight and your dog joining you with that, we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on over there in the busy Animal Radio newsroom?
We have been busy, so I'm going to kind of slack on this one and just tell you, I'm going to tell you about my favorite story of last year. My favorite story, I think, is the funniest story, and it's also, it's kind of an interactive story where you can take part in it, too.
Oh,
you can be visually stimulated by this thing I'm going to tell you about.
I like
maybe that went too far.
No, not yet.
Let's hit the phones. Are you ready, Dr. Debbie?
I'm ready. Let's go to it.
Let's go to Tina. Hey, Tina, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Where are you today?
In Pennsylvania, in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so that's the east side of Pennsylvania, right?
Correct.
Do you have a dog?
Near Philadelphia.
Okay, do you have a dog?
Yes, I have a little Maltese. He's almost 6 years old. And the problem I'm having with him right now is his breath is absolutely horrible.
Ooh.
I mean,
doggy breath.
I've had breath before, but it's really, really bad. And I don't know what's going on.
Okay. And has he been to the veterinarian recently?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Because the number one thing when we pick up bad breath in a dog is dental disease, or more specifically known as periodontal disease. And a lot of times that's that first telltale sign that we may pick up. And we know that by the age of 2 to 3 years of age, almost 80% of dogs and cats are going to have some degree of periodontal disease. So that's where if he's not had, or is she?
It's a he. Mm-hmm.
If he's not had regular dental exams or even dental cleanings, then that would be my number one thought of where that odor comes from.
Okay.
And that would be something that, hopefully we can address, do some dental cleaning and evaluate whether we've got any bigger issues where we've got any tooth loss or bone issues in the mouth. That's really the first thing. The other things that we look at that cause bad breath, you don't want, because they're bigger problems in general. They tend to be things like kidney disease, diabetes, respiratory infections, cancers, all sorts of other stuff. So really it would behoove you to, see the vet, say, hey, can you check my dog out? Do you think we might have a mouth problem that we need to address? And sometimes veterinarians like myself, we can look at the mouth and give you a pretty good idea. Yeah, we're going to have something we need to address. Sometimes we can't. And there are some veterinarians that will use a product called Aura Strip, which is a kind of a quick in the exam room strip that you can kind of wipe on the gums and see if it tests positive. And if it tests positive, then it gives us maybe one more little oomph that says, oh yes, let's go ahead and move into a dentistry. But I would say that if you haven't been, practicing regular dental care at home and seeing your veterinarian every every 12 months for a dental cleaning, then that's going to be my big thing.
Okay, yeah, he's never had a dental cleaning before, and I've tried brushing his teeth, but he doesn't go for it. It's not his thing for sure.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. Some of the little dogs can be really tricky, and I'll tell you, my little boss, he was a year and a half, and we had to pull, we pulled 4 teeth when he was a year and a half of age, partly due to crowding and partly due to bad teeth. So these little dogs, they really do move along much faster with tooth-related problems than, say, a large breed dog. So I would say, definitely that would be something. If you can't do home care, it's less than ideal, but there's a lot you can do just by, scheduling regular cleanings. And there's some good chews and things that we can use after we've got that good, clean mouth to try to prevent that buildup from happening quite so quickly.
How about those treats that they have out there, like, I don't know, the green treats or something they say are good for dog hygiene, dental hygiene or something? Are they recommended or?
Yeah, for what I usually recommend to my clients is if you look on any of those products, what we're looking for is a seal of approval, and it's the Veterinary Oral Health Council. And it's a council of veterinary dentists that actually have tested these products and looked at to see, does this make some kind of measurable difference? It's not going to be as good as brushing the teeth or having them professionally cleaned, but it can have some measurable difference. So look for that seal on those type of edible items. Or otherwise, if you buy a product like at your veterinarian, obviously they're going to stock something that's through a veterinary distributor.
Right.
Yeah. I try not to have people look at treats and chews as a replacement for dental care, because it's kind of like me saying, I'm going to chew popcorn tonight because I don't feel like brushing my teeth. It doesn't do the same thing. I might get a little bit of some abrasion effect, but it's not really apples and apples. It's different.
Right. It's not the thing that will mend it all. He really needs dental care, probably.
I would say very suspicious. So let me know. See what happens, and hopefully he gets a clean bill of health, but, may just need a good cleaning, because, that's a source of bacteria that goes. Yeah, and those bacteria in the mouth, they definitely can, spread to the other organs, the kidney, the liver, and the heart. So, I would definitely look into it.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thank you. I appreciate your help.
Hey, thanks for calling, Tina. In just a couple of minutes, in your neck of the woods, we're going to talk to somebody who just opened up a Doggie Drive-Thru in Eastern Pennsylvania. And they only serve dog food. They don't serve human food. They want you to drive on through with your dog.
Wait, it's human food, isn't it?
Is it?
No, it's not.
It's not human food?
It's human food for dogs, isn't it?
Yeah, but they won't serve human.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So that's coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll find out about it, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks for calling to reach out to your dream team. It is actually kind of a mix. They have a partnership with Fresh Pet, which is dog food, and then they also serve fruit, human-grade fruit on top of some of these bowls here. You'll find out about it in just a couple of seconds here, right on Animal Radio.
I'm such a whack job.
No, you were right, though. You're not a whack job. Hey, if you're a whack job, then what am I?
A cat job.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. I got Dr. Debbie standing right here. How can she help you?
Well, I have a 14-and-a-half-year-old cat. He was a feral kitten, and I've raised him. He's a great pet. But I've had problems with his ears probably for the last 7 years, and it doesn't seem like we can get anything under control, and I'm not sure if he hasn't been misdiagnosed.
Okay. Well, what has he been diagnosed with so far?
Well, it's started out with ear mites, and the treatments were fairly successful depending on what they were. It seemed like a shot controlled them better than the ear drops. But in the last several years, he's developed he's always congested. He has a thick congestion in his nose. It varies from a white, thick mucus to yellow to sometimes bloody. And the last time I had him at the vet, she thought maybe it was a malformation of his nose or a tumor. But he always has this black, crusty stuff in his ear.
Okay. And, I mean, is the vet able, I mean, this is where I like to look into the radio here. Are they able to actually see in your kitty's ear canal, or is there just a lot of gunk in there that they can't really get a good look?
There's a lot of gunk in there. And I've used, I think the last drops I got were Mitaclear. Okay. And then there was an Octi rinse or something to clean his ear with. But it just never goes away. It's always there.
Okay. And is he an inside kitty, or does he go outside?
He's both. He's a farm cat. In the wintertime, he pretty much stays in the house, and in the summertime, he's pretty much out all the time.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I would typically do, Karen. When we have, especially a chronic ear infection, there's a couple things I would do. Is I would want to make sure we take some nice samples of what that garbage looks like inside the ear and do some things with it. So I put that on slides. I might even culture it, but I definitely want to know more about what we've got. And if I find mites, great. Then we'll treat that way. But I wouldn't stop looking, because a lot of times we can find bacterial infections along with that, or fungal infections. And I want to make sure we get the right medication around there. Now, if we've got a lot of garbage in the ear, one of the main things we may need to do is to get that out of the ear. And that's really hard to do with just squeezing a liquid down the ears and asking you to clean them at home. So only thing is, age concerns aside, with anesthesia, I would talk about doing a anesthetic flush to get the garbage out and to allow us to look inside that ear canal. Because there's a lot of things that might be playing a role deeper down in the ear that we really need to get to the root of. And that's how I would try to manage some of those chronic aspects to an ear infection. Now, you mentioned some other stuff about the congestion and some of this discharge stuff. In some cases, with chronic infections in cats in the ears, we can actually run into a development of a type of a polyp that grows. It may be, a primary problem. The growth is the underlying issue. But in some cases, it's actually a benign growth that can occur deep inside the ear canal. And in some cases, it actually can come from the ear canal and actually go into the back of the throat or down into the back of the mouth. So some of the concerns of a growth back there might not be all that far gone. And that might take some actual anesthetic procedures to actually look at that and to try to evaluate that a bit further. But that could be something that might be playing a role to cause both that congestion type sign and the ear infection. And I guess the other thing is we do have an older kitty here, so we have to keep our eyes open for bad teeth as well as, tumor potentials, kind of all the way across the board. But I think that I would get a little bit more aggressive as far as getting those samples, getting the ears cleaned, and then seeing if we might have something like a polyp in there.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
I'm Beth Stern on Animal Radio and Adopt from your local shelter.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. That's 800-880-3141.
Hey, this is Big Ant from Rescue Inc. Remember, spay and neuter your animal, and abusers are losers. Now back to Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. And if you're one of those people that drives through the drive-thru with your dog and end up buying a cheeseburger or some nasty food that you shouldn't even be eating for your dog, you're not alone. And there's a young lady, Amanda Brown. We'll be talking to her in just a few minutes here. She opened up her own business. It's a drive-thru just for dogs.
That is so cool.
Can't get any human food there, or at least you can't order human food there. But if you have a dog, you can drive through, and apparently she has several different sizes and grain-free and supersized and all of that stuff.
Wow.
And we'll find out about that in just a couple of minutes and see what her aspirations for franchising are. Because I'd love to see that out here. Right now it's in Eastern Pennsylvania.
Eastern, yeah, I'd love to open one.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
It'd be cool if you could get a doggy bag from your doggy for yourself. You know, like, you can eat all those
Yeah.
fries. Do you mind if I have a few?
That is so true.
Are you going to eat that?
We're going to head back to the phones in just a couple of seconds. And let's see. Lori, what are you working on over there for this hour?
Well, I dug up a new survey that the Baylor College of Medicine did about drugs for dogs, like pain-killing drugs, and how pet owners are being affected by some heavy-duty drugs that are given to their pets.
Huh. Okay, that's on the way right here.
It's not always good, yeah.
I know that it isn't always good. I have a feeling I know where you're going with this, and it's just downright wrong. But we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes right here. Let's say we go to line 2. Dr. Debbie?
I'm here.
Well, hello, Taryn.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Where are you?
I'm in Kentucky, outside Louisville.
I could almost hear your accent.
Yeah, well, I'm from Georgia.
She's switching it up on us here.
Yeah.
So how are your animals? I got Dr. Debbie right here. She can help.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, we have a 2.5-year-old Brittany Spaniel. And we bought her because we intend to breed her. We actually had a stud ready for her next heat cycle, but she appears to be pregnant. And from all my research, all the symptoms that she has wouldn't be false pregnancy because she's too far out of heat. And she's producing milk now.
Okay.
I can't feel any puppies, though, I've never had to feel for puppies before. She doesn't look bigger.
Okay.
But how do you know for sure?
And no chance that there's a boy around, or is that
kind
of a vague possibility?
Unless something came in our yard. And we kenneled her for part of the time she was in heat. But it's possible, but we didn't see anything happen.
Well, never underestimate the power of hormones in dogs.
Boys and men especially.
And all males.
You said it, Hal.
Yeah, I know. I have boys, and yeah.
But I guess the question and the answer to that is both false pregnancies and a true pregnancy last typically about the same time. So about 64 days is the general norm. So, we're at that time frame where if we don't see puppies dropping and we don't really feel comfortable that this is a pregnancy, you can fix this or get the answer to the solution very quickly. Number one would be you can see your veterinarian and have an ultrasound done. That would be one of the most efficient ways at this point to see if we're pregnant.
Okay.
The true reality is that false pregnancies are not uncommon, and dogs will go through all of those signs of pregnancy, including some weight gain, milk production, nesting behaviors, and even carrying around little dolls like babies.
Right.
So there isn't an easy answer when the pet is displaying those type of signs. Now, some of the hormonal effects may last beyond what a regular pregnancy would. So that's where if it's getting past that 64-day period of time and there's no babies, you may still be going through some hormonal surges from this kind of whole roller coaster called the false pregnancy.
Her genital area is very swollen, and she has a rash. She's been licking herself constantly, and at first we thought maybe it was like allergies or, some skin irritant, and then we started thinking, well, hormone surges in women cause skin problems. Maybe, now that we're thinking she's pregnant, would that be part of it? Could they even have that if they're not pregnant?
Sure could. Either scenario. Yeah, definitely. Now, when you look at her, does she look like she's gained a tremendous amount of weight?
Not a lot. She does look a little thicker, and her abdomen is a little, like they say, firmer, and, it looks bigger. She looks like
Yeah.
a cow. My boys think we should milk her. I mean, she's taking a
golly.
lot of milk.
Well, definitely. And that milk is kind of freaky because, especially if we have a dog that we know has not been around male dogs and this happens, it's kind of like weird, huh? But,
It's very weird. And it's not out of the realm of possibilities. We just, we didn't let her go out and find a boyfriend. And we don't know what dog would have been in the yard. We just moved here. We had only been here a month before she went into heat.
Is there a stick that dogs can pee on, Doc? How do you find out? Is it a blood
Great
test?
idea.
And then if it's false pregnancy, would that show up as a positive also?
That's a great question on that. And I don't know that the human pregnancy test can actually be used for dogs. But I'd say the easiest way I could suggest to kind of get to the root of this would be see the vet. And if she were here and I could feel her belly, I could probably tell you a little bit more as well. But I'd say for her safety and, for if there is a pregnancy, getting to see a veterinarian would be important. And there's also some benefits in that because if we have a pregnancy, a lot of times we will take x-rays of the babies so we know how many to anticipate. So there's some pre-planning steps that, we don't always like these teenage pregnancies where they're unanticipated. We try to get ahead of them so we know what we're getting into.
Like 15 or 16. We're so disappointed.
No, you said she's 2 years, right?
Yeah, about 2.5.
Okay. She's just a foolish young adult. That's all.
Gotta watch out for those foolish young adults. Well, good luck and let us know how that turns out there, Taryn.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, this is Brian DeTillo. I play Lucas Roberts on Days of Our Lives, and you're listening to Animal Radio. And please don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered. That's my favorite saying from Bob Barker, by the way.
If you're between the ages of 55 and 63, disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. The average is about $1,300 a month. It's a benefit you are entitled to from working. Use it to pay your normal living expenses. This free call only takes 10 minutes, and it could provide you the necessary financial relief you need. Plus, our services cost you nothing until you receive your benefit check. Save yourself time and aggravation. We know how to get the job done for you as quickly as possible. So if you are physically or mentally disabled and can't return to work, and you're between the ages of 55 and 63, learn if you qualify for your $1,300 a month check. Make this free call right now to the Social Security Disability Helpline.
800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. That's 800-380-4429.
This is an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. Fear Free takes the pet out of petrified and puts the treat into treatment. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
I'm Lori Brooks. Stealing from a sick animal might seem like a very low way to get a drug fix, but it does happen, and it happens a lot. Sadly, opioid abuse is rampant, and a survey from Baylor College of Medicine reveals to us a surprising number of pet owners are stealing their pets' medications, especially painkillers, and namely the drug tramadol. With many vets reporting they've actually witnessed in their own practices owners trying to get medication for themselves and inventing symptoms for their pets and reasons to get these prescriptions.
Really?
Yeah. Vets have been advised by the American Veterinary Medical Association. They have issued a statement suggesting that all vets give only a limited number of refills for prescription pain medications. Because of this opioid abuse, New Hampshire is now requiring veterinarians to check pet owners' names and their pets against a database of opioid prescriptions that is tracked by the Prescription Drug Monitoring Program there. And then the vets will have to check the names 2 more times in that year in case somebody's name later pops up as having a drug addiction.
Wow.
And there's kind of like a little war that's going on with this. They're saying, vets are not trained to understand or even know. And how would they know if a human is addicted to drugs, and what could happen if they denied somebody who's actually addicted to drugs, and how do they counsel them, or what do they do? So there's people on both sides of that one.
Dr. Debbie, have you had any patients seek opioids from you for their own use, and do you know about it?
Yeah, I think I've been suspicious of a few people maybe over the years, seeking tramadol, saying their pets needed it. But, I see more commonly than that, I see people giving their own pain medicines to their dogs. Ooh. And, not wanting to go spend and get another prescription. So they'll say, I just got some at home. I'll just give it to my dog.
Oh, yeah, wow. that won't work.
Yeah, well, if it shorts them on their pain medicine, that's the other thing. If it is an appropriate, thing like tramadol that we use both in people and in dogs. But
see, what I'm thinking about is the animals that need that, and the owners taking that medicine away from them. That's really the low of the low.
Yeah,
that is, and one would hope that's not the case. That maybe it's more someone making up a symptom and seeking in that way than actually taking it from a poor animal in pain.
Now, when you prescribe opioids, do you have to get information from the owner or driver's license or anything like that?
No, as far as in our hospitals, there's some controlled drugs that veterinarians will prescribe through their hospital, meaning they'll dispense them out. For the most part, we do most of that through outside pharmacy. So we do stock some tramadol, but for the most part, for large quantities or other things that are like higher classes of prescription drugs, we'll send those through a human pharmacy. So they are kind of monitored through oversight, and someone else can be the police. That's not my job. I'm a veterinarian, so I'm not out to arrest people and look for that kind of fraud.
Nor are you trained for that.
No. I like to watch cop TV shows, but I'm really not going to practice that in my daily life.
Now, kind of a downer thing here, another one, but it is something that I think is really important. Because given the relatively short lifespans of our pets, it's not unusual for those families who have children, for those kids to witness the realities of life kind of played out before their very own eyes with their pets. But children have to understand death in those moments and how they do. And those are pretty much, largely ignored topics, according to some new research that's out. A professor of animal behavior, his name is Dr. Joshua Russell, says that children often see themselves as kind of like the center of their pet's universe and their affections. And they describe their pets as siblings or their best friends even. And it turns out that kids have a really distinct sense of fairness or unfairness of whether or not an animal lived until an appropriate age. It makes a big difference. Russell interviewed kids between 6 and 13 years of age and found that the children felt a short lifespan is normal for hamsters and fish, but apparently the kids had trouble accepting early deaths for dogs, cats, and even rabbits. And children whose pets lived the extent of their potential lifetimes or beyond, who had lived to an old age, expressed more acceptance of those deaths after their pets had gone. But they say conversely, children whose pets died unexpectedly or tragically described it as emotionally and morally unfair and had a much more difficult time reconciling the loss. And you think, because sometimes parents just say, oh, they've gone to heaven, you cross the rainbow bridge. Well, what is the rainbow bridge? It brings up a lot of questions, but hopefully now maybe some of us will have a little bit more understanding of how serious and what a big deal it is to kids.
Sure. It's a big deal to adults.
Are they talking about therapy, though, to for these kids? Because that's where I got to say, I don't know, maybe I grew up in a different time. The dog died, your father dug a hole, you helped him put the dog in a hole, and you covered it. You mourned a little bit. But I hope they're not talking about therapy.
No, they're not talking about therapy, but I personally don't think that would be a bad idea. I mean, some people are just, it all depends on how you're raised, too, because you only know what you know. But if that helps somebody get over, a really close relationship, because who knows really how kids process things.
And adults, too. You're just talking about kids. Bam.
Oh, yeah. As an adult I've had some really tough ones to get over. Mm-hmm. But I've got something that may make you laugh now. Whole different subject. Okay. I thought this was one of the funniest stories, and it just came out last month. And after the month before, after the November elections, hopefully we've all found our sense of humor again and gotten over all that, because this is hysterical. And as an animal lover, I hope you will appreciate it too. Google now has an extension. Is an extension the same as an app?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Don't know.
Okay. But in Google Chrome, they call it an extension.
Okay.
For their browser, which is called Chrome. Mm-hmm. Listen to this. This extension is called Make America Kittens Again.
Okay.
And what it does, it replaces pictures on the internet of Donald Trump, our president-elect, with pictures of adorable kittens.
This is great. This is great because I'm having a lot of trouble surfing the internet right now because I run into this Trump guy, pictures of it, and I give up. So now I'm so glad somebody's actually come up with a good idea. I want that.
Isn't that awesome?
I'm switching to Chrome today.
I thought that was hysterical. What a great way to spread the cheer of animals.
Really?
I'm Lori Brooks. You can get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hello, Animal Radians. It's Robert Semro, your Pet World Insider, here with this week's Animal Radio List, 5 New Year's resolutions for the pet world. Another year has ended, and as we begin the next one, promises of change and doing better are bouncing through our minds. So I thought I'd give you a gentle reminder that your pets need to be included in your resolutions. Number 1, get your pet's identification microchips and paperwork updated. I know we've all promised this before, so stop what you're doing, and as a famous sports philosopher says, just do it for the sake of your pets. If your pet isn't already microchipped, what are you waiting for? Please don't tell me that your pets can't get out or get lost. They can, and if it happens, your best chance at being reunited with them is by having them microchipped. If you do have them microchipped, update their information and make sure that your local shelters have microchip readers that would read the actual chip inside your pet. Verify that it's working, it's accurate, and that the information on file will bring them home to you. Number 2 is time. Resolution number 2 is so simple that if you don't do it, I hope your pet will cone of shame you at some point this year. Spend some extra time learning about your pet each day. I don't mean sipping tea and discussing your favorite books, though I have found that Zoe has great taste in books. What I do mean is actually getting to know your pet by really studying their body and behaviors and noting changes that may not have been there the last time you looked. Number 3, learn something to improve your pet's lives. Learn something this year with them or for them. Maybe you'll learn a new sport or activity that you can do together. Or maybe you'll take the time to learn more about what benefits your pets, what harms your pets, or what you can do to enhance their lives. There's a lot of great information out there, so it's going to be easy for you to achieve improvement this year. Number 4, help your pet be more healthy this year. From nutrition to play to mental stimulation, filled with a healthy outlook and activities that will give them a healthy change that is sustainable and makes a difference for them and for you. Number 5, begin a daily or weekly pet journal, something that takes just 15 minutes to do daily. What did you and your pet do today? What was their behavior like? What was their health like? What special moment occurred that you will cherish? I use my pet journal today to communicate with my pet healthcare team. I'm able to give them updates on their health, their care, and what's happening normally, as well as what's out of the normal. Something I learned last year when Sugar passed was that I would also look back fondly and treasure these notes about my soul dog and our other pets and our daily interactions. Do you have a New Year's pet resolution? If so, share it with us on our Animal Radio Facebook page.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. That's 800-434-5019.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. I forget if it was you, Lori, or if it was you, Joey, telling me about In-N-Out Burgers. They have the special meal for dogs.
Oh, yeah.
If you go through
Yeah,
the
just
drive-thru.
like a burger.
I know
A
that.
plain patty.
A plain patty. And they
That
actually
was
have it.
Lori.
Was it
because
Lori?
I knew about the secret menu for people. I didn't know the dog one.
Well, when you go through the drive-thru and you have your animal with you, it's always very tough because they smell the food and they want the food.
They want it, sure.
And you really don't want to share that food with them because it's you shouldn't even be eating it
I know,
yourself.
it's bad for you. You sure as heck, at least you got the choice. Your animal, you can't feed it junk.
But you'll love our next guest and what she's done. Amanda Brown is joining us, and they have a place called Bane and Vader's Doggie Drive-Thru. And I believe it is specifically and only for dogs. And we welcome her to the show. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Now, you're in Easton, Pennsylvania. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's where you have a doggy drive-thru. It's sort of like a restaurant, is it? A fast food restaurant for doggies?
Yeah, sort of. It's more or less, it's like a little hut, and it has drive-through windows on both sides, so you can just drive up. And a lot of people bring their dogs, so it's super fun. And you just place an order, and we make it fresh, custom for you right there, and then send you on your way. So it's fun. We love it. So.
Do you serve human food there?
No, we don't. Actually, I was thinking about serving like coffee or bottled soda or something, and apparently the health inspector said that it's not an option. So
You can't do that. What is it you serve? What kind of dog food do you serve?
So I partnered with Fresh Pet. They make all fresh meat, fruits, vegetables. That acts as the base of our meal. So you get to come in, drive up, and pick a Fresh Pet base. So we have grain-free, and raw. So there's 3 different options. And from there, you then get to add 2 toppings. So we have fresh fruits and vegetables, like sweet potatoes, carrots, all like boiled fresh daily, fresh strawberries, watermelon, some other fruits and vegetables as well. And then you can also, for a little bit more, add some toppings.
How's business going?
It's going well. I mean, it's only been about 2.5 months.
You know what? Do you have a landline, Amanda? Can we call you back on a landline? Your cell seems to be cutting out here.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to put you back on with Judy. It's Animal Radio, and we're getting Amanda back on the phone. She has a drive-through dog. It's a doggy drive-through. You won't find any human food there, just food for your doggy. And it looks like pretty healthy food. It's in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is, I guess if you're listening on WEEU, this is in your territory there. So do we have her back? Okay, I believe we have her back. Are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Oh, so much better, much better. So how is business going? Do you find that there are lines of cars, or is it going tough, or what?
Both. I mean, on the weekend, it's awesome. And in Pennsylvania now, it's winter. So I always pictured winter to be, sort of a downtime. But the first month was amazing, and I know that's how and what it should and could be. The first weekend, we had about 90 cars come through.
Wow.
It's exciting, and I know it can be, something awesome. I just have to stick with it. So that's where I'm at right now. I keep telling myself, build it, and they will come.
Yes.
So.
I know a lot of fast foods won't serve people if they walk up to the window without a card. Do you get a lot of dogs that come up to your window without people?
No, but we do. Some people do walk through.
Would it be safe to say you're the only doggy drive-through in the country?
Well, there is a company called Doggie Drive-Thru, and she does something. I think she sells like biscuits, and they have some other stuff like that. But what we're doing is, there's nothing comparable to it.
How did you come up with the idea?
I read an article about 1.5 years ago that stating that fast food is literally going to the dogs, and it just basically said that there's a high percentage of people that even go through the drive-thru are either getting something for their dog or specifically going there for their dog. So I thought, well, if that's the case, why not do something that is healthy? It's fun and it's healthy for them. It's not, a cheeseburger that's made out of I don't even know. So that's sort of where, I thought, oh, this could be cool. So it took a little while to get it set up, but now we're moving along. So
I like how it's healthy food because I'll tell you, fast food has turned Americans into big, fat, greasy people. And I certainly don't want to see that happen with the dogs with the drive-thrus now.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I know. I'm excited. I think the response we've gotten so far is great. I've had a bunch of customers have returned multiple times. Some people come 2-3 times a week, so it's fun. I think it could be awesome in, a place where it's sunny all the time and nice and warm.
Okay, it's called Bane and Vaders, and you can go to the website at baneandvaders.com. That's spelled BANEANDVADERS.com. And, of course, we have links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.com. Amanda, good luck. Keep it up, and let's check in maybe in the summer and see how it's going, okay?
Okay, yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much for letting me get on.
Yes, of course. There you go, another great entrepreneur.
That's a great idea.
Tapping into the pet business. Suddenly I'm hungry for some big, greasy cheeseburgers. I don't know why. Okay, time for us to get on out of here. Ladybug wants to play with her new toys that she got for Christmas. And I don't blame her. They're actually pretty cool little toys. That one actually looks like a real raccoon. Oh, that is a real raccoon. You know what? You might want to get her away from that. I wanted to say before we left that if you have a Shih Tzu, a Pug, a Yorkshire Terrier, or a Mini Schnauzer, our very own Dr. Debbie has a great online book. It's a Kindle book called How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. We have links over at animalradio.com, or you can just head on over to Amazon. Download the Animal Radio app and get your fix at animalradio.pet. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
See ya next week.
This is Animal Radio Network.